Well, hello everyone. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're settling into our new way of lifestyle and our new routine. Again, I know you as well as all of us are looking forward to getting life back to somewhat kind of resemblance of normal when it's the right time and of course when it's safe. Again, I want to thank you guys very much for everything you've done. Everybody from the IMT to the DOC to everybody out in the fire stations and on the beaches and in our dispatch centers. You truly have made me proud for how we've reacted to this crisis. The things that we have put in place that have protected us are evident in our numbers, and again, we continue to lead the way in the county and throughout the state, really, as far as reducing our exposure, reducing our risk, and keeping our people safe. So thank you very much for that. It's been a little while since we've talked, since I've kind of given you some updates in the department, and although I know we've been preoccupied with COVID-19 and all of the preparations for that, we have had some things working behind the scenes to continue our normal work processes that I did want to kind of update you on if I could. We have been still busy with EMS RFPs, EMS contract extensions with AMR, facility improvements that we need, apparatus acquisitions and inspections. So all of those things are certainly still taking place. We've tried to keep the train on the tracks as best as we can with negotiations, so we're still continuing with that. I also want to compliment the lifeguards and especially Chief Gartland for really being instrumental in putting together a plan of how to reopen our beaches and bays once that time is given and once the county gives us the okay to do that. I hope everybody knows that we do not control the waterways, and so that's beyond our control as far as when that can actually take place. But how that's going to take place is certainly within our ability, and we've led the way to really roll out a plan that's reasonable for the rest of the county to follow, so our neighboring cities are doing similar. With that, I did want to talk a little bit about the budget, because you're going to see a lot in the media, and you already have, as far as some of the financial challenges that the city is in right now. If you recall, we presented our budget way back in January. That was with the city already facing a deficit there, and so each department was asked to submit 4% reductions, which we did at that time. That was close to $12 million. We submitted those. The proposed budget went through the executive budget review, and the public safety really made it out without any reductions in that. Most of the other departments bear the brunt of where those reductions were. Then came along COVID-19, and we started to see revenue projections drop down, bottom out, if I could say. We have started to see increase in costs and trying to mitigate some of the other emergencies, but more so it's really been the revenue side on the city that has put us in a different position than we were. Departments were asked to put together another reduction plan at about 2.5%. We were asked to put $7.1 million in proposed reductions there. That was only a couple of weeks ago, in which we did. When those recommendations finally were vetted out through the mayor's office in his proposed budget, public safety and specifically fire really did very well. We only had a little bit over $600,000 in reductions out of the $7.1 million that we were required to propose there. So we really made it out of round two really unscathed there. Well, now we're facing round three, and yesterday we had a meeting with the executive team. There's been some future revenue projections now of where the city is going to be, specifically when you've got new things such as Comic-Con, Pride Parade, Rock and Roll Marathon, Isri concerts. All of those have now canceled, and those are all impacting, and we're not in the original projections of what was estimated at about a $250 million deficit for the city, both for this fiscal year and for next fiscal year. Yesterday's meeting enlightened us to the fact that that is maybe upwards of an additional $55 to maybe even $75 million more in deficit there. So we walked out with our marching orders of each department having to once again propose further reductions. The reason really I want to communicate this to you is because you will inevitably read this in the newspaper, see this on social media, see this in the media as far as the challenges that the city is going through and what the departments are having to do. So we will once again propose further cuts, and that's in the tune of about $11.5 million is what's being asked of us to propose. I want to emphasize to you, though, that we have no idea where this is going to take us. and how much is actually going to be accepted as reductions. Public safety has always been a sacred cow, as it should be, the backbone of city services. We hope that we will fare well, but I can tell you that the other departments have, through the first and second reduction phases, have really been stripped down to the bone. Some of those departments almost do not even exist anymore, and so they are really looking at public safety now of where those cuts are going to take place. Again, I have no crystal ball as far as where this is going to go, how much of these reductions are going to be actually implemented. Police department is in the same boat, if not worse. They've been asked for a lot more than us on these reductions. Again, we're required to provide these proposals. We have no idea actually how much is this going to take. I want to give you a little bit of perspective of where we're at when we say $250, $300 million as far as a deficit. A lot of us remember back in 2010, 2011 when all of the departments were facing significant financial challenges as well. The fire department was asked to make reductions back then. At that time, the city was facing in FY11 a deficit of $179 million is what the deficit was there. We're talking right now up in the neighborhood of $300 million. I realize that time is different. That was 9 years ago, but still, we are all doing our part. We are all trying to make sure that we can still provide the services, the essential services to the communities that we serve, and also making sure that we're being fiscally responsible and doing our part on that. So myself and my staff have spent many hours already. We will continue over the next couple of days to make our proposals. I want to let you know that this is the last thing I think about when I go to bed at night, and it's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning. How we are going to get through this crisis, not only making sure that we get through it safely and still, our health is intact. As an organization, we are still able to provide these services, but now fiscally, how are we going to get through these times? And so I wanted you to hear it from me that we will continue to work through this. We will work through the 3 different labor groups as far as the impacts that we see out there as well, to make sure that they have some input on where this is going to go and how the impacts are. And again, I really have no idea how, if any or all, or we're somewhere in the middle of these proposals that we will make recommendations for, how much will actually be implemented. So again, you're hearing it from me, so you don't read about it in the paper and feel like this information is being held from you. I know most of the media is talking about the overall city finances, and I wanted to get a little bit more granular and tell you how it's affecting the department and where we're at right now. So again, we will continue to work through this process. I know we will come out okay on this, and we will continue to keep you up to date as best as we can. So again, stay healthy. If you have questions, feed them up through your chain of command. We will do our best. A lot of this is so unknown. This is you've heard the word unprecedented. It really is. We have no idea what the future is bringing us, how long this is going to continue, and really what the financial impact is going to be. So stay safe, look out after each other, and again, I'll try to provide you with further updates as they come in. Thank you.